password habits are silently fueling a cybersecurity gold rush, and few people realize just how much is at stake. Consider this. Most of us know that reusing passwords is risky, yet roughly 78% of global users still fall into the habit, even though a staggering 84% admit to repeating passwords across sites. Why do we do it anyway? Here's where it gets controversial. Convenience often wins out over caution, setting the stage for explosive growth in security breaches, particularly those enabled by sophisticated phishing attacks. In fact, since 2022, there's been a jaw-dropping 4,151% surge in phishing activity, with artificial intelligence now making these scams almost indistinguishable from legitimate communication. This isn't just a string of alarming numbers. It's a seismic shift that's driving massive demand for secure authentication hardware, putting companies like Yubico decisively in the spotlight. Why the password problem just won't go away? Let's face it, the biggest weakness in our digital defenses is human nature. The average person is now juggling a record-breaking 100 passwords, up by 25% in just 1 year. But here's the part most people miss. 62% of employees are not just reusing passwords. Many make only minor tweaks between accounts, hoping that's enough to stay safe. This creates a domino effect. One weak link can unleash disaster across your entire online life. Just look at Microsoft's alarming discovery. 44 million users recycled passwords, and 13% kept the exact same password for every login. The fallout can be catastrophic. In fact, 81% of company data breaches stem from either weak or recycled passwords. Remember the Dropbox incident? An employee's reused password ended up compromising 60 million sets of credentials, highlighting the massive organizational risk. Phishing exacerbates this vulnerability. Here's something you may not know. About 80% of phishing campaigns specifically target your login details, regularly impersonating trusted services like Microsoft or DocuSign. And beware, most phishing sites now use HTTPS, the green padlock that's supposed to mean safety, making it even harder to tell who's legitimate. AI is raising the stakes too. In 2024 alone, deepfake attacks grew by 15%, and the number of ready-made phishing kits available on the dark web ballooned by 50%, empowering almost anyone to orchestrate a convincing scam. Yubico's hardware solution, scrambling the password status quo. Into this chaos steps Yubico, whose hardware authentication keys, YubiKeys, are rapidly becoming essential tools for phishing-resistant multi-factor authentication, MFA. Here's where things get interesting. In 2024, Yubico rolled out 200,000 YubiKeys to T-Mobile's workforce, replacing old security systems and securing access for employees, vendors, and retail partners. And yet, nearly half of Americans still recycle passwords despite these high-profile attacks. Forward-thinking companies are now pivoting to hardware tokens to break this risky cycle. Yubico's plan for 2025 revolves around 3 principles: expand, simplify, and evolve. The company has introduced smoother tools, like the Yubico Enrolled Suite for integration with platforms such as Okta and Microsoft, to make large-scale deployment painless. Products like the YubiKey Bio Series and YubiKey as a Service, YaaS, are designed to make secure authentication scalable and adaptable. Importantly, regulations in the US, EU, and Asia Pacific, think NIS2, DORA, Australia's Scams Prevention Framework, are now forcing organizations to adopt stronger, phishing-resistant measures. Big numbers, big stakes. The fast-growing authentication market. Here's a figure that should grab your attention. By 2032, the enterprise password management sector is expected to swirl to $9.01 billion from $2.74 billion in 2024, a booming 15.8% annual growth rate. Within this, The hardware authentication segment stands out, partly because of Yubico's impressive statistics. The average annual cost of a phishing breach sits at $4.88 million, making physical authentication options not just safer, but also smarter financially. Competitors like 1Password, Keeper Security, and Bitwarden are also stepping up innovation. But Yubico's clear commitment to phishing-resistant MFA, bolstered by products like YubiKey Bio Series and passkey deployments, gives it a distinctive edge. This aligns with the ongoing move towards zero-trust security frameworks, which data shows are a factor in 68% of breaches linked to human behavior. According to Verizon's DBIR, investors pay attention. Identity security's next big thing. Yubico looks like a prime bet for investors wanting to ride the wave of growing demand for authentication solutions. The global market stood at $19.7 billion in 2024 and should reach $22.8 billion by 2025, driven by companies adopting OTP hardware and passkeys. Regulatory momentum in Europe and Asia Pacific further cements Yubico's long-term potential. And here's the controversial part. The transition won't be smooth. Legacy systems like SMS-based one-time passwords remain common despite their vulnerabilities. Not everyone's on board with hardware tokens either. User education is a critical hurdle. Yubico's solution? Streamlined tools for onboarding and comprehensive training, aiming to make secure authentication effortless for organizations large and small. Final thoughts. Why hardware-based security has the wind at its back? When you combine relentless password recycling, increasingly advanced AI-powered phishing, and tough regulatory mandates, it's clear the time has come for hardware-protected sign-ins. Yubico's smart partnerships, relentless product innovation, and embrace of zero-trust architectures position it to lead this transformation. For investors and IT leaders alike, the message couldn't be clearer. The next era of cybersecurity will be defined by phishing-proof, hardware-based solutions, and Yubico is ahead of the curve. So, is the end of passwords as we know them finally within reach? Or will human habits continue to undermine our best technological defenses? Is hardware authentication the inevitable answer? Or do you see risks and roadblocks ahead that haven't been addressed? Don't hold back. Share your thoughts and let's debate the future of identity security below.